Congrats, you have found your dream house. You have decided to put in that offer, the best offer that you could think of, over asking prices, not doing a home inspection, and really diving deep and really committing everything you can to make sure this deal goes through and you are selected. And during this time, it's all rushed, and you start feeling, I'm happy, I'm almost there, I'm always moving into my dream house. But after a year or two, you might be feeling, why? I feel a little sense of regret, things that you're uncertain about now that you live there. And this is something that a lot of buyers have been feeling, especially if they rush the process and really didn't really do their own due diligence about their own finances or their neighborhood. And in this video, I'll be talking about the top 3 regrets that buyers have, especially in the past few years. And if you're a new buyer in this current economy, you better listen in because this is something you should understand and think about for yourself during this journey, just that you don't be feeling this 5, 10 years down the road. So before we get into it, this is Gary, a realtor based in Queens, New York, that really aims to teach you as much as I can about buying, selling in the great state of New York. And if you like the content, like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, you can always comment down below, and I will try my best to answer with as much information as I can. Regret is the big word for this video. And if you don't want to feel regret, you really need to make sure these 3 top regrets that a lot of buyers have, you don't feel as you move into your house. So the first one is the buying process. But understand everything that happens during it, such that you know what you're getting yourself into and happy with the result at the end. Second, which neighborhood you're going to be moving into. And we'll go into the details later. And 3, your own personal finances. Finance, at the end of the day, is something you need to make sure you iron out and don't overextend yourself. So let's get right into it. So for the buying process, there's a lot of nitty-gritty details that go into it to make sure you really find the dream house of yours. And as an agent, what we can do is just help you find houses that fit the criteria that you tell us about. So there's certain things that we want to understand unless you let us know. Like if you aim to increase the size of your family by potentially having another child, or people move into your house in the future, those sort of things will ultimately affect the type of houses we will recommend to you. This will have a harder impact on you when you start moving to your house you just buy and realize it might not be the exact size house you will need a few years down the road, and you will need to move and buy a new house. And other things like, did you do an inspection? Did you understand the result of the home inspection? Like during the home inspection, you always have an inspector that will walk around and tell you about the house and key things that you should be aware of, such that when problem arises or problems they find during the inspection, you are aware of it and ways to tackle that problem. And if you have any questions during this time, you should ask it, even if you think it's a dumb question, because at the end of the day, this is a house that you will be moving into and not anyone else. And the last thing is really understand how you feel about this house. Ultimately, there will always be new houses come to market and houses that you might think I should have gone with that one. But at the end of the day, real estate is a market where you don't know what's going to be appearing, and you just make a decision based on then and there. After you put in an offer and get your offer accepted, I would recommend you not look at any other houses in the area, or else you might feel regret from there. Because there is always houses out there that will have new aesthetic or new appliances. Those things can always be improved into your current house. But if you do that, you will always feel a sense of regret, and no matter what type of house you're buying, even though it might be the best house in the best neighborhood. But that sense of doubt that you didn't get the best thing will hit your happiness at the end. For the second one, the neighborhood is the biggest factor, I say, beyond just the house and where the house is. For that neighborhood, there's a lot of different things that you should consider for what you really need and what you might just want and have close by. In the pandemic, a lot of people thought they needed to near a lot of public parks. This way, they could have a lot of nice things to do while they're off work. But a lot of people started realizing they don't really need that. That's something that they would want, and if they have it, that is amazing. But if not, it's okay. And I say the main things that you should consider is one, the distance to main things like the schools, the stores, restaurant, and potentially your hobbies, if those are things that you really need to consider. And the second one is if there's any future development plans in the area, like any large developments from any skyscrapers or anything that you might impact your daily life. And these could be smaller things like some bus route changes that are slowly being ramped out, especially in Queens and in Bronx. So those things, if you understand it, you won't be surprised by any changes in your local area in the next few years. And as always, you really need to think like, what are you looking for? A house might be exactly what you want, but at the end of the day, it's only one piece of the puzzle when it comes to where you're living for the next 5 to 10 years. And neighborhood really builds that experience. And within a neighborhood, you always need to consider what neighbors do you live next to. There's been a lot of people that have amazing houses in amazing areas, but after living in the area, they realize they don't really like their neighbors. So part of this process is really doing that due diligence and really seeing how the neighbors are, if their personality really mingle with yours, and if you're okay with some of the things that they're doing. So this would mean potentially going around that neighborhood or around that house throughout the day in different times of the day. Property finance. This is the top thing that you should understand before really buying a house. And this is something that causes a lot of people to really have regret, especially if they don't understand the finance of what it means to own a property and especially maintain the property. And I'll be showing you an example of things that you have to understand. This way that if you do buy a house, you understand how much you might need to spend each year to own if you have a mortgage and really keep the house in the tip top shape and really utilize the house to the best that's available. So let's dig right into it. Here is a house in Queens that you find. It is only worth $800,000. It has all the things you would need in a neighborhood that you really like. And based on your current finances, you know you need to get a mortgage. And you can only put 40% down. And in that case, you know your mortgage payments are going to be around $50,000, and that's around $4,170 per month if you have a 6.8% interest rate. So if you get a lower interest rate, your monthly mortgage will be lower, and your yearly mortgage will be substantially lower too. But you can't just stop there. You need to understand the other aspects when it comes to property ownership, like property taxes. So in this case, you're lucky. This property tax is a lot lower, $10,000. This is something you need to add on to your yearly expense, as within the property taxes, if you don't pay it, the government will have power to really take away ownership of this house. And then things like insurance. Homeowners insurance is a couple $1,000 every year, and is highly recommended in case there's any things that might happen to your house that really damage it or prevents you from living in it. This way, you are safeguarded from those large accidents. And then maintenance. A lot of homeowners are great at maintaining their homes and really keeping the aesthetic and keeping that appeal, especially in the future if they aim to sell their house. But unfortunately, a lot of homeowners do not maintain their houses well. And this is a figure that's around 2% of the home's value when you purchase it. And this is a recommended figure, but this figure could be a lot lower if you know how to properly maintain a house, like cleaning the windows and really maintaining the all the systems within your house, from the AC units to the heating systems. If you can these things without really spending too much extra money, you will have a lot lower maintenance fee. But at the end of the day, it's really understand how you probably maintain your house and make sure it is in a condition such that if you do decide to move, you will be able to get the most for your house. And not done yet, a lot of people forget you should really consider how much you pay for utilities. And this is could extend from simply the electric bill, the gas bill, and the water bill, all the way up to the internet costs and those things, depending how detailed you want to be. If you understand the whole experience when it comes to home ownership, you won't be surprised when some things are more than what you expected. You will have those sort of like measures in place such that you won't be slowly killing yourself when it comes to owning this house, which is a big problem. And let's say for this example, you can see that it totals around $83,000 just to own this house. And that is a figure that a lot of people would not be able to afford in this current economy. So this is why it is important that you run these numbers yourself and make sure you're in a situation that you're happy with, especially 5 to 10 years down the road. My solutions are just simple aspects that you should really understand for yourself to really audit your situation, such that when you look a little bit into the future, you will be glad where you are right now and really enjoying the best that your house has to offer, the neighborhood has to offer, and what life has to offer, right? You don't want this huge purchase to really bog you down and really regret the decision you might have made a few years before. And as a realtor, I really want you to buy a house, but you just need to make sure you can thrive within the house you purchase. So during this journey of buying your house, at certain times, you should take a step back just to make sure you're certain about what you want and what you need, as those things will heavily impact your decision, such that you don't waste your own time and money on options that you might not really desire or need in reality. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for all the future content that I'll be making.